What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1359 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James Canada. Valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. Season 5 of Yes, We Are Open, an award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego, and Redley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd is Cliff Hacking, founding president and CEO of the Electronic Products Recycling Associations. There's no S on association. Welcome back, Cliff.
Thank you. It's great to be here. This is my third time, and I loved every one of them. I know this is going to be a fabulous session.
And you got in my good books early, because just before I pressed record, you were praising something I did, and I said, Cliff, hold that thought till I'm recording this, because if you're going to praise me, I want it on the record here. You enjoyed a recent episode of Toronto Mic'd.
I listened to a number of them, and I heard the Randy Bachman episode, and I loved it. The story of how he banged up his elbow and his son had to fill in for him, and just, you know, it was just really entertaining. And I've been a big fan of Randy and when he was with Burton Cummings and the Guess Who, and he's been amazing, and that was really a great episode. I really enjoyed it.
You know how to butter up the host. Well done, Cliff. Now, I will say I had a time constraint on that episode, which I don't love, but I understand, you know, when you get Randy Bachman, because I heard you say Bachman, and I'm told it's Bachman. Okay, Cliff, I'm
corrected.
Here to
Got it.
Educate you. I had like stuff I had to leave on the cutting room floor because I did steal. I can't remember. I think I got a half an hour with Randy and I took like 42 minutes or something because I'm that kind of guy. But one of the questions I had to ask him was, what do you, Randy Bachman, think about the fact that the Guess Who still tours? I think there's one guy left from the original lineup, I believe. But bottom line is they kind of present themselves like the Guess Who. They play a lot of American festivals. They break into American Woman and These Eyes, and they play all these Guess Who classics. But, you know, Burden's not there. Randy, you're not there. I wanted to find out what he thought about that, but I didn't have time for that question. And subsequently, there's a lawsuit now. Burden Cummings and Randy Bachman are suing the current Guess Who over like false advertising, essentially.
Wow, that's an interesting story. I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is happening now, and we'll see where that goes. But I always wondered, there's an FOTM. I don't know if you've heard the Sass Jordan episode of Toronto Mic'd.
I haven't, but I'll look it up.
It's actually wonderful. But her husband, I believe he's the lead singer for the Guess Who now.
Okay.
And Guess Who, you know, again, they're signing autographs. Like literally, they'll sign an old classic Guess Who album, and they'll sign over, you know, Burden's face. Like it's like they're basically like pretending like they're the OG classic Guess Who, but they're not, right? They're but one guy maybe left, but there's no Burden, there's no Randy. It's an interesting story. Like when you see the Guess Who, what are you seeing?
Yeah, well, you're not seeing the two headliners, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Dare I say, Cliff, that maybe the Guess Who has been recycled?
Oh, I like it. Recycled. Maybe reused.
Reused. Okay, well, this is all tied
hopefully not abused.
So let the FOTMs listening know that I have all by myself. I selected choice jams, like songs that we're going to play. And then I have mind blows and fun facts tied to these songs. But all these songs were inspired. So I was inspired by the Electronic Products Recycling Association and what you guys are doing for RecycleMyElectronics.ca. So what you're up to, which we're going to talk about throughout this discussion, is top of mind as I select these jams. Are you game to play along with me, Cliff?
Let's have some fun.
I'm going to start. Now, Cliff, don't make any assumptions. You look younger than me, but I'm thinking you have a couple of years on me. Are you a baby boomer?
I am.
Okay, there's no shame in that. I think that's first of all, you had no say in the matter. Like I didn't choose when to be born, but that's a good time to be born. Baby boomers are very excited this week because there's new music. I'm going to start with this song because it's going to segue into like a recycling jam. And this song I consider like maybe the all-time recycling jam in a sense. And I don't know if you've heard it yet. So I'm going to play it. You're going to listen to it with me and we're going to react. You ready?
Ready.
1, 2.
I know it's true. It's all because of you. And if I make it through, it's all because of you. And now and then, if we must start again, well, we will know for sure that I will love you. Now and then, I miss you.
Now, Cliff, for a variety of reasons, I deem this the ultimate recycling jam, really. It's Now and Then. Do you know who we're listening to?
This is the brand new Beatles song, and I heard it for the first time driving here this morning.
Oh.
So I knew it was coming out. I'd heard about it. I was excited to hear it. Obviously they've taken John's voice from a recording a long time ago, and I believe that Paul and Ringo did something live to support it. I'm not sure how they got George in there.
George, I don't think I'm not sure. There's apparently, I see. There's overdubs and guitar tracks by George Harrison from an abandoned session in 1995. So they do have some George in there. But this was recorded, you're right, this was recorded by John Lennon in 1977. Like, just a home demo he did on piano, but they didn't finish it because it was too... the quality wasn't sufficient. They couldn't separate the vocals from the music, and it was kind of a sketchy demo. But suddenly the technology has arrived. Technology, this is all going to... It's all about you, man. It's all going to come full circle. But technology is at a point now where they were able to like restore that audio, like you said, through AI. And now that they had, Lennon's voice extracted from that demo, McCartney could he could write new lyrics and apply some like vocals to that. And Ringo Starr could play on that. And they added some George magically from a 1995 session. So this is a new Beatles song.
It's fabulous, and it doesn't sound like a lot of other Beatles sounds. It's new, if I can say it that way.
It's new, and there's been some, discussion, like, is this a good Beatles song? I would say the fact that we're chatting, Cliff, in 2023 about a new Beatles song that does not suck is a wonderful thing.
It's great. It really is, and I'm a huge Beatles fan. I probably their later stuff more than the earlier stuff. I kind of came into it, as they were towards the end of their time, but I have them as one of my favorites on satellite radio. I listen to them all the time.
This is the third Beatles song, since, basically that has been restored since, two members are sadly long gone. But the first two were Free as a Bird and Real Love, which came out with that anthology, the Beatles anthology release. But this one wasn't deemed good enough, even though Yoko passed it on, I guess, to Paul, until this... And I think Peter Jackson is the man who helped commission this audio restoration technology that enabled them to do this. But recycled in a sense that here's new Beatles, and John's been sadly dead since 1980. And it's also kind of a recycling title when you think about Now and Then, right? That's sort of in the theme of recycling too.
It absolutely is, and it's great to hear it. To hear that they're back doing this, and to see that both Paul and Ringo are still touring and alive and well and doing fabulous.
Yeah, long may they run. Shout out to Neil Young. Okay, so I wanted to play the new Beatles with you because I know you're a big Beatles fan, and I thought that's the ultimate recycling jam. But because there's cooperation from Paul McCartney, this segues nicely to another song I wanted to play when I thought of EPRA and what you're doing at recyclemyelectronics.ca. So I want to bring in, see if you can even name this tune.
Bicycles for two, broken-hearted Jubilee, parachutes, army blues, sleeping bags for two, sentimental jamboree. Why says the sign in the shop window? Why says the junk in the yard?
I know, Cliff, you're the residential Beatles fan. I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you know what song this is?
It's from the first Wings album, and I don't know the title.
See, I'm not even sure it's Wings. I think it might be McCartney's solo. Like, it was on the album McCartney.
Okay.
And what's interesting about this song, the song's called Junk.
Okay.
And basically, Paul's talking about items you find in a junkyard. You listen to Toronto Mike. I'm always talking about, when I have a guest on, like, I know they've got old electronics in their, junk drawer, or maybe it's in their attic or their garage. And I know that one day they're going to take all that old tech, those old devices, and throw them in the garbage. And I'm always here to say, don't do that. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca.
It's funny because I had a drink the other night. We were at the Old Mill, a couple of friends that went to university. And one of the fellows said, I've got all these cables in my drawer. What do I do with them? I said, drop them at my front door. He walks by my place all the time. He says, drop them at my front door. I will look after them. But you could take them to Best Buy or Staples or dial in your postal code. And it's just dial in your postal code, and it'll get you to the closest location to drop off your electronics.
Okay, so we're going to talk more about that, but that's why I chose this song. The song is called Junk by Paul McCartney. And much like Now and Then, the new Beatles song we just played, this was actually written, so Paul wrote this thing in 1968 while the Beatles were still a thing. So they took that trip to India, right? And that's sort of what inspired this. And then the band returns from India, and he recorded a demo of this at George Harrison's home, and this was going to be part of the White Album. Anyway, it was passed over, and it didn't make the cut, and it didn't make the cut for Abbey Road. And then McCartney's like, when he's solo, he's like, I'm going to record this myself. And it's a sweet little ditty called Junk.
It is. And the other thing, you've probably seen the Peter Jackson series, but I was fascinated to hear the number of George Harrison songs that ended up on his first solo album, All Things Must Pass, because he had 4 or 5 of them that he was doing right in the sessions, and they never made the Beatles albums.
He didn't get the respect he deserved in that band.
He did not. He was kind of, but mind you, it's tough to get airtime with those two, just dominant players.
Yeah. I sometimes think it's like being William Nylander on the Maple Leafs sometimes. You got Marner and Matthews are taking all the oxygen. Meanwhile, it's like, hello, having a career year and a contract year.
And he's going to do well out of it.
He's gonna do all right. That was a good deal we signed. That was I think $6.9 million. But yes. Well done for Dubas. That's a rare win, I think, for him. But okay. So we're doing some Leaf talk here. But Paul McCartney, there's a little fun fact. Another song, I'll just play in the background while I discuss more with you. But there is another song on the album, McCartney. So that was Junk we played. And then he's got Sing Along Junk, which is just an instrumental version of the song. So it's like a longer instrumental version, I'll put it in the background, that appears on the same album. So McCartney, obviously a big fan of Junk. But what does McCartney do with the junk he's got today? He goes to recyclemyelectronics.ca. So before I kick out some more fun facts and mind blows and some more songs that were inspired by EPRA, can you, Cliff, let us know, remind us, if you will, Remind us about what EPRA is doing to keep these old electronics out of the landfill.
Well, we do a number of things. First of all, we've got over 2,500 locations across Canada where you can drop off your end-of-life electronics for free. So keep that in mind. It costs you nothing, and you're doing the right thing for the environment. We also make sure that all of the electronics that come back to us are turned back into products that can be reused. And we have a high 90%, 96, 97, depending on the province, percent of what comes back to us that can be reused. And it goes back into metals, go back into various things that come out of, whether it's the lead ingots that come out of old CRT glass or copper yolks off the back of televisions. Those kinds of things all get reused and put back into the supply chain, and the plastics get recycled as well.
Over 1 million tons of electronics have been diverted from Canadian landfill and illegal export.
And counting. We're at 1.3 now. I was asking when we get to 1.4, and they tell me, hold on.
Okay, you know what? You need to have that moment every 100,000 or whatever tons. The website gets updated. Like, this is a big moment here. But
true.
That's amazing. Okay. And again, we'll touch on more things you guys are up to at EPRA, because sometimes I get asked, okay, so... Because I used to talk about EPRA, and then I decided, no, I want to talk about recyclemyelectronics.ca, because I thought it would just cut straight to the messaging. Like, I know Ian Service, who helps host the audio file everyone's listening to right now. He listens to every episode of Toronto Mike, and he learned about you from Toronto Mike, and he had a truckload, literally a truckload that he was delivering to the depot. So how many depots across the country?
More than 2,500, and they're easy to get to. There are a lot of municipalities. As I say, you type in your postal code. You go to our website, recyclemyelectronics.ca, type in your postal code, and it will tell you the closest location.
And just so we understand that these are accredited here. So EPRA, when you've accredited these places that we're going to, we can trust them to take the glass, the plastics, the precious metals, the gold, the copper, and properly recycle it all.
Correct. And we not only inspect the locations that you drop it off itself, but you also know that when we take this material, it goes back to a processor which we audit. And those processors have standards in place that we established a long time ago and have built on. And those standards require that you do things right, not just for the environment, but also for the health and safety of the workers that are there. And so that's terribly important. And it guarantees that there's no export of your electronics to non-OECD countries. You're not going to find yourself on one of those videos that you see on television about third world countries where they're burning things to get the metal out of it. We don't allow any of that.
No, good on you. Good on you. So we started with the Beatles segment here, Now and then we went to Paul McCartney's Junk. Here we're going to get a little more modern, but not too modern yet. But here's another song, and there'll be mind blows to follow. But here's a song I thought of when I thought of your visit, Cliff.
It's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Because 2 times 3 is 6. And 3 times 6 is
18.
And the 18th letter in the alphabet is
R.
Yeah. We got 3 R's we're gonna talk about today. We gotta learn to reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Well, if you're going to the market to buy some juice, you gotta bring your own bags and you learn to reduce your waste. We gotta learn to reduce.
All right, the 3 R's. This is Jack Johnson. This was a song he recorded for a movie. I remember my firstborn being a big fan of this movie. It was Curious George. They made a movie, I think, in like 2006 or so. And the soundtrack had Jack Johnson jams on it, and this was one of them, the 3 R's.
The man with the yellow hat.
You got it. Yeah, the man with the yellow hat. I don't know, the kids, I don't know. My youngest two don't seem into Curious George. Maybe he's taking a break, but we got to bring that piece of IP back for the new kids. But okay, so I have some fun facts and mind blows. Are you at all familiar with the work of Jack Johnson?
No, really not.
I feel like Jack, I got to see what Jack's up to these days. He had his time in the early 2000s, kind of a acoustic, kind of easy to listen to, you know, poppy rock stuff, like nothing too hard, as you can hear. This was his jam style, and he had a moment, but I'm not sure what he's up to these days. But the 3 R's, which talks about recycling, I did find out that this song was inspired by another song that you might recognize from your younger years. So I'm going to bring down Jack, and I'm going to play a song that inspired this song we're listening to right now. Okay, here we go. Lots going on here, Cliff. You never know what's going on. Here we go. This song's going to bring back memories, I hope.
As your body grows bigger,
Your mind must flower,
it's great to learn.
'cause knowledge is power. It's Schoolhouse Rocky, the chip off the block of your favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
Three is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity, you get 3 as a magic number. The past and the present and the future, faith and hope and charity, the heart and the brain and the body give you 3 as a magic number. It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand. It takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle. Every triangle has 3 corners, every triangle has 3 sides, no more, no less. You don't have to guess. When it's 3, you can see it's a magic number.
Cliff, do you remember Schoolhouse Rock?
I do.
This was a Schoolhouse Rock song called 3 is a Magic Number, and you can probably hear it, but Jack Johnson adapted this song for the 3 R's. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
And the reduce is important. One of the things that our manufacturers do is continually work to redesign products so that they're lighter, and we're seeing a lot of lightweighting these days, so there's less material in there. You get the same functionality, and it's a big part of what we do. So reduce is important, reuse is important, and recycle is important, and all 3 of them are a vital part of what we need to do in our economy.
Well, Jack Johnson agrees with you 100%, Cliff. Okay, so he wrote the song for the Curious George movie. It appears on the album. I got to give the full name of this album. It's called Sing-Alongs and Lullabies for the film Curious George. Very formal title there. It's from 2006. Fun fact for you, Cliff. That album goes to number 1 on the Billboard 200. That's a number 1 album, Sing-Alongs and Lullabies for the film Curious George.
That's awesome. It really is.
So no wonder we're all into reducing, reusing, and recycling. And I will say that's a sign of how big Jack Johnson was in 2006. I don't know if a Curious George soundtrack goes to number 1 in 2023, but that was a different time. But I'm playing Schoolhouse Rock, which I remember even. That's how old I am, Cliff. But I have a fun fact for everybody listening. There's a lot of Gen X listening, so I think they'll appreciate this. I'll let Schoolhouse Rock finish, and then I'm going to play a song that'll blow some minds.
A man and a woman had a little baby. Yes, they did. They had 3 in the family. That's a magic number.
3, oh, it's the magic number. Yeah, it is. It's the magic number. Somewhere in that ancient mystic trinity, you get 3. It's the magic number. In the past and the present and the future, faith and hope and charity, in the heart and the brain and the body, will give you 3. It's a magic number. It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand, and it takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called the tricycle. And every triangle has 3 corners. Every triangle.
Okay, Cliff, you've been pretty good at my trivia. I think I'm going to stump you on this one. Can you name the artist covering this Schoolhouse Rock song, 3 is a Magic Number?
I don't think so.
You need more time? You know what? Were you listening to a lot of alt rock in the 1990s?
Yes,
Cliff? Okay.
yes.
Maybe the clue I'll give you is this, and then we'll see if you can nail it. What if I told you this band's biggest hit had a girl in a bee costume in the video? Oh no, I'm putting you on the spot, Cliff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bail you out. This is Blind Melon.
Okay.
So Blind Melon, their big hit was No Rain, which had the Bee Girl in the video, and that was a Much Music staple in the, 93 or so? What is that, around there? Shannon Hoon was the voice of Blind Melon, and here they are covering that song from Schoolhouse Rock. Sadly, Shannon Hoon no longer with us, but the fun fact I often drop about Shannon is that if you ever watch the video for Guns N' Roses' Don't Cry. Is it called Don't Cry or No? Don't Cry. He's at the he's singing backups on the top of the building in that video. If you've ever seen Guns N' Roses Don't Cry, you'll see Shannon Hoon up there. So there you go. There you go. The cover. I thought it was a fun fact. Blind Melon covering that Schoolhouse Rock song that not only inspires, I'd say, is adapted. It's more than inspiration. He stole a big chunk of it. But Jack Johnson then has the 3 R's for the Curious George movie, and it all comes to 2023 when we talk about the 3 R's and EPRA and recyclemyelectronics.ca. See how it all works?
It all comes together.
But you're a listener, right? I want to point that out. You talked about the Randy Bachman episode, but you're legitimately a listener of Toronto Mike, so you completely get the vibe of this thing.
I do, and I really enjoy it. I think that you do a great job. It's in the diversity of the folks that you have on really is interesting as well. And I'll listen to one, I'll get halfway through, okay, this isn't my jam, but then I'll get Randy Bachman, or I'll get you say we were talking about Leo Routens being on probably about a year ago now, and even coming down and watching his head so that he doesn't bang it, and it's just I find it really interesting.
No, thank you. And what I did with Leo, because he came back a second time, and then I said, hey, would you come back with Rod Black, because they were together on TSN together. No, they were on Sportsnet together. No, TSN. Okay, TSN. Got to get my big conglomerates right here, my cable companies. But TSN, they were together, and then Rod Black was let go, and now they're not together on the air, but I could reunite them in the basement. So I think the last time Leo was here was with Rod Black, which was amazing.
They were good together, too.
Amazing. In fact, note to self, bring them back. I like to, bring these guys together on this show. So I'm going to bring back Leo Routens and Rod Black and find out how things go. And it's fun to hear them riff. And then you get the imitations. They do, he does a good Charles Barkley, and then you get to talk about, Joe Carter, and it's just all good fun. So
it is.
I will do that. Okay. So thank you. I'm going to give you a gift, and I know you have a gift for me. But Cliff, I just want to say, from the bottom of this independent podcaster's heart. So it's, I'm the only guy here. You don't see a big team here, okay? So it's all me, myself, and I, and it's a lot of work. We're at episode 1,300, and do you remember your number here? I will cheat and find it. No, 1,359. So, we've been pumping out the content. I got an episode coming up with Sylvia Tyson. I have the guys from Lowest of the Low in the basement tomorrow. Lots going on here at Toronto Mike. But having an amazing sponsor like EPRA, I can't tell you how awesome that is. I don't have a sales team. I don't have someone who's just picking up the phone, selling Toronto Mike. It's all me, myself, and I. And to have what I got from EPRA in 2023, it makes all the difference in the world. Basically, a lot of people come and they do 3 months at a time, and then you got to renew 3 months at a time. And I have some sponsors that have literally been here for years, like Great Lakes Brewery, like Palma Pasta, like Ridley Funeral Home. But what EPRA did is they said, look, we're committing to the whole calendar year. And what a huge weight off my shoulders that I know recyclemyelectronics.ca are a partner of Toronto Mike throughout the calendar year. I just want to say thank you. I can't tell you how much that means to me.
You're more than welcome. And I was here just before you did your 1000th episode. And I remember talking about that it was coming up and it was going to be in the following week. And so that was exciting. And from our perspective, you're reaching an audience that is important to us. And we are really trying to do as much as we can. I mean, I do my own podcast these days. They're called A Welcome Diversion. And we pump those out to try and hit a different demographic. So it's great that you can do radio and television. And, we do a little bit of all of that. We do some print. But we need to try and make sure that we're reaching everybody, and your audience is important for us, and you reach across Canada, which is great as well. So we're happy to do it.
Well, it's a mutual admiration here. Much respect to what you guys are doing. I love what you're doing too, and I believe in it, and I love talking about it. So here's to many more great years. But I want to give you a gift, and then maybe you have a gift for me. I got a tip that I might be receiving something. I don't want to sound like I'm expecting something, because I'm not. But I have for you in my freezer a large lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And what I have for you is a couple of bags for shopping. They're recyclable. They pop out so that they can combine, and they're really sturdy. And of course, what do they say on them? Recycle my electronics. Because what else would you want them to say?
Well, thank you so much. Those are very handy, and I will use them with pride. And I have, because that's such a nice gift, I'm going to give you some fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery.
Thank you.
And you mentioned your podcast. So shout out your podcast again.
A Welcome Diversion. We've just done 3 episodes again this year. We started out with Mark Saltzman, who's the guru guide, and he does a great job. And
he's an FOTM.
He is, yeah. And so we certainly have, we've worked with him. I've had processors on from the plastics industry, from the battery industry. We've recently done a couple, one including someone from Australia, to talk about what's going on down there and how they're handling recycling. So for us, it's important to get the message out, and we will be doing more next year.
Okay, I'm going to give you a wireless speaker courtesy of Moneris. So yeah, you can re-listen to your own shows. Who does that? I do that periodically, by the way. I also highly recommend you listen to season 5 of Yes, We Are Open, which is an award-winning podcast hosted by Al Grego, who's been traveling the country, collecting inspiring stories from small business owners, and then sharing them on this excellent podcast, Yes, We Are Open. So you've got it right there. You've got a wireless speaker to listen to Al, and Yes, We Are Open.
That's awesome. I used to watch Stuart McLean when he was alive and doing
Vinyl
well.
Cafe.
Yeah, and this feels like I will certainly check out season 5, because it feels like a bit of a trend or an homage to what he has done.
Absolutely. Now, I also am going to just give you an invite, because I know you're a West Toronto guy. I will tell you that in Mississauga on December 9th, and this is for everyone listening as well, at noon, so December 9, 2023 at noon, we're all FOTMs are collecting at Palma's Kitchen, and we're going to have a Pandemic Friday reunion. We're going to have beer from Great Lakes Brewery. We're going to have pasta from Palma Pasta, our esteemed hosts there. Cliff, you're invited, and if you did show up, we have an open mic. We have guests who pop on the open mic, and we chat up during this live recording. So this is happening December 9.
That's
at
awesome.
noon.
That's
You're
awesome.
invited, Cliff.
Why don't I see if I can't arrange to have a bin there? If anybody wanted to bring in their electronics, they could drop them off.
Do it. Yes, that's actually perfect. We'll talk more about that offline. But yeah, let's absolutely do that. And then people can bring these old electronics when they come to TMLX 14. One more quick thing for you. Do I have it on the table here? Yeah, there it is. I have a measuring tape for you from Ridley Funeral Home. So that is for you, Cliff. You never know if you have to measure something.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
All right. And I have more choice jams here. We're just kind of getting cooking here. Thanks again for that gift. I got a note, so I put on Twitter that Cliff Hacking was returning, and I'm going to kick out some recycling jams. And I received a note from Basement Dweller. I've seen Basement Dweller at a few TMLX events. Always great to see him. He wrote in and said, shout out to the prototypical tree hugger musician Carl Wallinger. I sure do hope that you kick out world parties. Put the message in the box during your Recycling Jams episode. And I can tell you, I didn't have it loaded up, but I got the note. So I'm going to play a little bit of it and then get back to my jams. But this is for Basement Dweller. He said if you watch the video for World Party's message in the box, you'll understand why it's being kicked out as we kick out some Recycling Jams here. Were you a fan of the Waterboys, Cliff?
I was.
So this is Carl's from the Waterboys, and this is essentially his solo project.
And if you listen now, you might hear a new sound coming in as an old one disappears. See the world in just one grain of sand. You better take a closer look. Don't let it slip right through your hand. Won't you please hear the call? The word says, put the message in the box. Put the box into the car. Drive the car around the world until you get hurt.
So this is for Basement Dweller. Cliff, when I'm always reading about, the EPRA authorized locations where you can drop off the old electronics, and then I read about mercury and lead, and then when I share this fun fact, people are always kind of surprised. They don't consider this part, which is that when you have the old electronics or the old devices, the old tech, that there are substances like mercury and lead that are bad for the environment, that these need to be handled responsibly, and that's another really good reason to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca.
Keeps them out of our landfill, keeps them out of the water table. It's very important. In many of the, especially the older laptops, there's a mercury tube right at the top of it that lights it up. We take those out and make sure that we capture that mercury and it gets recycled. Things like the old, there's not many of them anymore, they don't make them anymore, but the rear projection televisions have ethyl glycol in them, so you want to capture that. It's basically antifreeze, again, something you don't want going into the water table. So all of these are all products that we end up being able to recycle and put back into proper use.
Yeah, back into the manufacturing supply chain and make new products, and the health and safety of the workers handling them is looked after. The environment is protected. 1,000,001 good reasons to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. Amazing. Okay, so thank you, Basement Dweller. Now back to my choice jams. Here's not really a song, so I'll just play a bit of it.
Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrape the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams, and though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so,
I would say you want to sing along to it. It's not really a sing along; it's more of a say along. But do you know this song?
I do know it. I used to do this with my daughter. So.
And how old are these kids now?
15, grade 11.
Grade 11. Okay. Yeah. Well, get good memories there. Okay, so this is called Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. And who's the artist? Who's the author behind this? Whose voice are we hearing here?
Oh man, I don't know.
All right, so here's where the fun facts
come in. But I had the book.
Shel Silverstein. So Shel Silverstein is a very famous children's author. Some of the big works that you might know from Shel Silverstein are The Giving Tree, Where the Sidewalk Ends, A Light in the Attic. I mean, he's a big deal. 20 million copies have been sold of Shel Silverstein books. But this is where the mind blow comes in. I can't just play a song. I've got to have some kind of a mind blow. So we'll bring down Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. And here's a mind blow, a song you definitely know.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him 'cause he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought that it was quite a joke, and it got a lot of laughs from lots of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some gal would giggle and I'd get red, and some guy'd laugh and I'd bust his head. I'll tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean. My fists got hard, my wits got keen. Roamed from town to hide my shame. But I made me a vow to the moon and stars I'd search the honky-tonks and bars and kill that man that gave me that awful name. Well, it was Gatlinburg in
I actually don't want to fade it down. I do like the story, even though I've heard it 1,000 times. Who are we listening to here?
Johnny Cash. It's definitely Johnny Cash.
This is A Boy Named Sue.
And he finishes it by saying he's going to be named anything but.
Maybe I'll bring it up for that. That's a great conclusion. So, here's your fun fact. So, the song "A Boy Named Sue" by Johnny Cash peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 back in 1969, I believe. Who do you think wrote this song?
Oh, there's a good question. I don't know.
Shel Silverstein.
Oh, I should have picked it up.
It's still early in the morning, Cliff. Yeah, this was 100% written by Shel Silverstein. He wrote this hit song for Johnny Cash.
Wow.
The same guy who wrote Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out wrote A Boy Named Sue. Wow. All right. Johnny Cash. Have you ever had the pleasure of seeing Johnny Cash perform live?
I have not. Seen the movie, but not seen him live, no.
Movie was great, right? Joaquin Phoenix became Johnny Cash.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Walk the line. And Reese Witherspoon, right, was June Carter Cash?
Yes, she was.
Amazing story. Yeah, Johnny Cash, I remember, I'm going to go with like the mid-'80s, late 80s maybe, when Johnny Cash became known for the Canada Trust cash machines. Do you remember this?
I do.
And it's like, I'm a bit younger than you, so it's like my first Johnny Cash exposure was, although I'm Johnny Cash, like the cash machines from Canada Trust. Now it's part of TD Canada Trust, but that's like my intro to this guy. And then it's like, and then you have to kind of go back and learn about Ring of Fire and all this important musical history.
Folsom.
But he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Yes.
All right, we're going to let Johnny take us home, and then I got more fun jams for you.
All choked up and I threw down my gun, called him a paw and he called me a son, and I come away with a different point of view. And I think about him now and then, every time I try and every time I win. And if I ever have a son, I think I'm gonna name him Bill or George, any damn thing but Sue. I still ain't that bad.
So shout out to Shel Silverstein, and here's something a little different.
Ain't the way you crawl across the cat house floor. The way you curse me when you slam the bedroom door. And ain't the way you sweat me for a handful of easy cash. It's just the way you love me when you turn to trash.
All right, Cliff, we know you're a big Beatles guy. Any love for Alice Cooper?
Absolutely.
Alice has had such a lengthy, interesting career, but I will just shout out my first best friend. His name is Joe. People listening to this program might know him as Joe from T.O. Joe and I became fast friends in junior kindergarten at St. Cecilia's on Annette Street. And Joe and I would hang out in like grade 9, and he had an older brother who had the greatest hits of Alice Cooper, and we would play this. I fell madly in love with this Alice Cooper's greatest hits. I bought a CD myself, and to this day, I throw on the Alice Cooper's greatest hits. I love that old Alice Cooper, but this is not the old Alice Cooper. This is 1989. He had a kind of resurgence, with kind of a increase in popularity in like 89, and this was his album, 11th studio album. It's called Trash, and this is the title track, Trash. And we're here, of course, Cliff, to say don't throw it in the trash.
Don't throw it in the trash. 18 and I like it.
Yeah, that was
School's
a jam.
out.
Yeah, Teenage Lament 74.
Yeah.
They went to You were under my wheels, honey. Anticipating fun. Yeah, I loved all this old Alice Cooper. But yeah, this was a big jam and a big album. I was listening to a lot of Q107 at the time, and they played a lot of trash. So,
Only Women Bleed, too.
yeah, that's a
Great song.
That is a great song. No, Alice Cooper. And Alice Cooper, as you know, Cliff, was the name of the band. He just kept it, like, as his name. But that's the name of the band. Fun fact for everybody. I will shout out the song Poison. That was the lead single from this album, and that was a top 10 hit, and he had a few other big successes here. This was his biggest album since 1977, so quite the comeback. And I have a kind of a mind blow for you, but we talked about how Alice Cooper took the name of the band, and he went by Alice Cooper. A Canadian FOTM did the exact same thing. I know you're not going to get this. I'm really showing you up today, Cliff, but did you want to take a stab at it? I don't even think you should, unless you know. But there's a Canadian musician who's been on Toronto Mic'd who took the name of the band as her name. That's a clue for you. It's a woman. Her real name is Karen, but she took the name of the band and went solo using that band's name. Any guess at all? No, you're wise to be quiet there.
No, I got nothing.
Lee Aaron.
Okay.
So Lee Aaron took a page out of the Alice Cooper songbook there and decided to do that. So another FOTM is a gentleman named David Quinton Steinberg. He's a drummer. He played with Stiv Bators. Do you know the name Stiv Bators?
No.
All right. So Stiv Bators, kind of a punk god from Cleveland, sadly no longer long gone. Actually, no longer with us. But I thought it was just since. How do we tie Alice Cooper to Stiv Bators? I can actually do this. Stiv Bators made an appearance on this album we're talking about by Alice Cooper. So the album's called Trash. Stiv Bators has a vocal appearance on this album. Stiv Bators, of course, most famous for playing with the Dead Boys. And again, David Quinton Steinberg, a good FOTM. He played with Stiv, and lo and behold, Stiv Bators has his own Trash song. Cliff, it's true.
People Trash Farmville. This is for most of you people out there, because it's about you. It's called It's Trash, and we're New York's finest, right?
New York's finest from Cleveland. No Cleveland, no Bowie.
It's trash with someone like I want you bad. It's trash when it makes me feel so sad, baby.
All right, just a little fun fact, mind blow for the FOTMs that you can tie it all back to Stiv Bators here and his work on Trash, and then he had his own Trash called It's Trash. We're listening to it in the background. Cliff, the mind blows will get better, okay? But that's not too shabby for a Monday morning.
That's pretty good. I was just thinking, so I've got a fellow who's worked for me since inception, really, and he's retiring. He works in Atlantic Canada, runs all of the province, all 4 of the provinces down there, has people working for him. His name's Gerard McClellan, and he's retiring. And the reason I bring it up is because whenever we get together, he has a toast, and it's a unique toast, and it's always, here's to garbage.
All right. And yeah, who's taking over?
Well, we don't know that yet. It'll be early next year when he leaves, and I'm actually going down Thursday this week to do some interviewing, and so we're working that process.
So let me tease an upcoming episode of Toronto Mic'd, which is a bit of a mind blow unto itself, is that Maritime's own successful rapper Classified, who had some big hits. Inner Ninja, he had a whole bunch of big jams, and I always liked him way back to Boycott in the Industry. I was playing him for my kids. We were reminiscing yesterday, but Classified will make his Toronto Mic'd debut, and he's got a song called Maritimes, so maybe Classified would be your guy. We'll put you in touch. But
good.
Thank you, Stiv Bators. This one is a song that was recommended by listener Lieve Fumka when she heard we were kicking out recycling jams. And everybody listening is going to know this one.
Okay. I've waited long enough, and now the time has come.
Oscar, what are you doing anyway?
What does it look like I'm doing, Bob?
Well, it looks like you're, making a mess.
I'm getting ready to sing my song, so I'm throwing out all my trash onto the sidewalk. Isn't it beautiful?
Well, I wouldn't say it's exactly beautiful, Oscar.
Well, I would. Just look at it all. What a beautiful junky mess of rotten, rusty, mangy, musty, crummy, beautiful trash. Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love trash. If you really want to see something trashy, look at this. I have here a sneaker that's tattered and worn. It's all full of holes and the laces are torn. A gift from my mother the day I was born. I love it because it's trash. Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty.
You guys don't love trash. Recycle your electronics.
We like to turn it into something that can be reused. But Oscar, obviously, he has a message there. Oscar the Grouch.
Always the contrarian. Oscar the Grouch, of course, until recently was always performed by Carol Spinney. Carol sadly has also passed on. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. So this is Oscar the Grouch, voiced by Carol Spinney, singing a song that was written by Jeff Moss. So Jeff Moss wrote the music, wrote the lyrics to I Love Trash. This song has been recorded and re-recorded several times. It was first performed in the first season of Sesame Street. I was not around for the first season, but I will shout out Sesame Street as like my first favorite show, like in the late 70s. This was my jam right here, Cliff. Shout out to Sesame Street. Okay, so I Love Trash. I have a mind blow for this as well, and it comes back to a great Canadian musician. So Oscar will take us into the mind blow.
Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love trash.
What this show needs is some good, clean fun. Oh, look, it's Katie Lang again.
You the singer?
Yes. Yeah.
Sing this.
Sing it.
Yeah.
What is
Oh, we call it trash punk.
Yeah, it's kind of a fusion.
Yeah, but never mind, just sing
Go on,
it.
sing it.
I love trash.
Yeah, sing it.
I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Oh, I love trash.
Great. Listen to this. I have here a sneaker that's tattered and worn.
Yeah, it's all.
Katie Lang covering I Love Trash.
Big fan of Katie Lang.
Absolutely. Now, Katie, of course, from Alberta, Canada. There is a musician, another wonderful Canadian musician who was born in Alberta, who turns 80 years old tomorrow. You want to take a stab at this one?
I'm not going to get it.
All right. Joni Mitchell turns 80 tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is.
We thought we were losing her like several years ago when she had that stroke, and I think it's just wonderful that we get to celebrate Joni Mitchell's 80th birthday
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday, Joni.
And Joni, before she was Joni Mitchell, when she was Joni Anderson, she would perform at the in Yorkville area
Riverboat.
of Toronto. Riverboat Cafe, absolutely. Shout out to Neil Young again, but also at a place called the Purple Onion. And the reason I bring that up is because I've talked to a co-founder of the Purple Onion. His name is Barry Whitkin. And I will soon be dropping a conversation with Sylvia Tyson in which I ask her about playing the Purple Onion with her. At the time, it was with Ian Tyson.
Yes, that'll be awesome. It really will. I've seen Neil Young play before. I never had the good fortune to see Joni Mitchell.
It's not too late.
No.
Although she's not touring, but she has... she did perform like for the first time in many, many years recently. And could you imagine, I mean, this won't happen, but could you imagine a Joni Mitchell tour? And I was chatting with FOTM Terry David Mulligan, who has stories from the early years, the prairie years of Joni Mitchell, that he was there. Like, and when he can make time for me, he promised he will let me grill him on this era of Joni and his experiences of Joni and record all that for history. So here we are just documenting history here.
That's an episode I'd love to hear. I really would.
Well, Terry David, I told him today, and I can show you the email. I said, you're the hardest working octogenarian I know. Like he's on a flight now. He's got no time for me and he's in his 80s. I'm like, slow down, chat with Toronto Mike about Joni Mitchell. It's, let's capture these stories.
And it's important that we do capture them so that they're there and everybody else can hear them. You don't want them to be lost in the busyness and not get captured.
You're singing my song right now. I literally have decided that's my whole purpose in this world is to capture these stories. So thank you. And again, thank you again to EPRA for sponsoring throughout the calendar year of 2023. Like if we could do that in 2024, my goodness, the real talk will keep flowing. How wonderful.
Do you want the commitment now or do you want to wait and get it as a Christmas present? How would you like to receive it?
I want it now because they say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
And you've got it.
Oh my goodness. And that's recorded. I think that'll hold up in court.
It will.
I'll say, hey, listen, you used AI to recreate Cliff Hacking's voice. I'm saying, I don't know how to do that. Okay. I want to thank you for that. That's amazing. Big news right there. I should have a sound effect. But I do want to shout out another wonderful sponsor who helps make this happen. That's Raymond James Canada. If you want to learn how to plan, invest, and live smarter, you should listen to the Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James. Whether you already work with a trusted financial advisor or currently manage your own investment plans, the Advantaged Investor provides the engaging wealth management information you value as you pursue your most important goals. So thank you. I didn't turn off my ringer, but you witnessed a phone call from Fred Patterson of Humble and Fred, and that's what's happening there in real time here.
I turned mine off.
You know what? I just turned mine off, and I'm a terrible host that I didn't have that off right away. But okay, I have one more song, and it's a very personal, nostalgic ditty. But before I play this last song, I got to set it up with a little story, as you can imagine, Cliff. Anything else you can share with us about what you're up to at EPRA? Anything at all that you wanted to share with you on your third appearance, but not your last appearance, because you just committed to another year. We'll be back.
We'll be back. Well, a couple of things. I think I was mentioning earlier that I was meeting with some friends from university, and they were talking about cables. So those cables that you use to charge your phone, people tend to just not think they can be recycled. There's wire in there. The plastic can be recycled. They tend to sit in a drawer. You've got chargers that are around for an old something that you don't know what it belongs to anymore. Please bring those into us. They're all valuable. We can recycle all of them. The lists are extensive of what we can bring back, and so we'd love to have your product back. When it's at the end of its life, we want it. We want to make sure that we do the right thing and turn it back into products that can be reused at recyclemyelectronics.ca. Type in your postal code, 2,500 locations across the country, and we'll look after it for you.
And it's free. Let's not bury the lead here. In this economy, that's amazing. Okay, so recyclemyelectronics.ca. I'll continue to sing your praises, and again, shout out to all the FOTMs that have been using this wonderful free service. Incredible. I mentioned that I met Joe at St. Cecilia's, but I only went to St. Cecilia's for a few years. Then I changed to a school called St. Pius, and this is at Jane and Bloor. Okay, so shout out to St. Pius. St. Pius X. I don't know those first 9 St. Piuses. I don't know what they were up to, but St. Pius X. And at this school, we had a visit from a musician. I was very young. I don't know what I'm in, grade 2 or 3 or something. But a musician visited, so we all got together in the gym, like an assembly, and this musician, like, I was a big Raffi guy, okay? But this wasn't Raffi. This was like Kirkland brand Raffi. But I, at the time, was excited because Raffi wasn't there, but this guy was there. His name, I'm sure he's still with us, but his name was Jerry Brody. It probably still is Jerry Brody. And Jerry Brody performed live in the gym. And he sang a song that has been bouncing around in my head for the last 40 years here. This song really, I don't know, it's catchy. I enjoyed it. I liked the message. And I found it on YouTube. And I have no idea, if anyone knows, let me know. I have no idea what happened to Jerry Brody. I have no more additional information on Jerry. It's not like I could find a Wikipedia page or anything. But I can tell you, I heard this song when he played it live in our school gym. It applies to our theme today, and I'm kind of excited to share it with everybody here. Are you ready, Cliff?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Garbage, garbage, no, no, no. Do you know where your garbage goes? Do you just rub it from your hand? You must put it in the can, man. You must put it in the can, man. If you take leftover vegetables and throw them out your window now, it would only be a matter of time before you slip it around. Garbage, garbage, no, no, no. Do you know where your garbage goes? Do you just drop it from your hand? You must put it in the can, man. You must put it in the can, man.
If you take newspapers and magazines and spread them
Now, I don't think this woman was in my assembly. I feel Jerry was there solo, but in this recording, we've got it's like a duet here. But the sentiment that I think applies is garbage, garbage, no, no, no. Don't throw those electronics in the garbage. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. But the song, Jerry Brody, if anyone listening can tell me what's going on with Jerry Brody, I'm naturally curious because he hit me at the right time. And this song, I've been singing to, I have 4 kids. All 4 have heard me sing garbage, garbage, no, no, no. So there you go, Cliff. Jerry Brody, shout out. I don't know if he's had many shout outs in the podcasting era. What is he up to today? I can only imagine.
Let's find him.
Let's find Jerry Brody. Let's bring him home. Let's get Jerry Brody on Toronto Mike. That'll be the full circle. And Cliff, honestly, you hit it out of the park again. I can't wait for your 4th appearance, but I loved this chat.
It's been great being with you. I really appreciate the time. And as I say, we think your audience is amazing. We want to make sure that we get our message out to them. recyclemyelectronics.ca.
And you think we can do that bin for TMLX 14 on December 9th at noon at Palma's Kitchen?
I do.
Okay. We're going to make that happen. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, EPRA. Thank you so much. If people want to learn more, do they just go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, or is there another website you think they might?
That's the best place to go. Type in your postal code. It'll tell you the nearest location.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,359th show. And as I play this song, as I close every episode with Rosie and Gray from Lowest to the Low, I realize they're actually my next guest on Toronto Mike. Is this band? Ron Hawkins and Lawrence Nichols from Lowest to the Low will be here tomorrow. They get to hear their own song at the end of their own episode. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. Got to diversify your portfolio, Cliff. I'm at Toronto Mike. You heard, you go to recyclemyelectronics.ca to learn more about EPRA and Recycle My Electronics. Much love to the other wonderful partners of Toronto Mike. That's Great Lakes Brewery. Cliff, I've got fresh craft beer for you. Palma Pasta. I have a lasagna for you, Cliff. Raymond James Canada. Moneris. There are 2 great podcasts, and you got a speaker to listen to those. And Ridley Funeral Home. See you all tomorrow when my special guests are Lowest of the Low.